can move on then to the next game. The Minnesota Vikings at 7-2 going up against the Tennessee Titans in Nashville in a game that, you know, this game has two quarterbacks who started the season as backups playing, but you've got Sam Darnold now, who is firmly cemented himself as a starter in the NFL at this point. He has a lot of it is thanks to Justin Jefferson and those wide receivers and those weapons that he's got, but he's been able to do it. And he's the reason that, I was going to say that it's hard to pick a game when you've got two quarterbacks who maybe aren't seen as a game changer either way. It's going to be a grind out game, but I've got enough faith in Sam Darnold to get the ball to Justin Jefferson and his other targets to, carry the Vikings to victory. What do you think, Christian?
Well, Sam Darnold looked really bad versus Jacksonville on Sunday. Mac Jones kind of just was worse. But defensively,
sad roll tide for Mac Jones, by the way.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, but yeah, that's tough. But yeah, the Minnesota defense is so good. I think Brian Flores really needs to get real looks at head coach again. Seriously. They're balling out. They've played really well. The thing about this game, Tennessee's I think, just too down bad. That's all it comes down to. Minnesota's seemed okay. Cam Robinson seems okay to replace Darisaw, but I think ever since they lost Darisaw, it kind of just sank their sails a little bit. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they go on a little bit of a turn, especially with division play coming up. So yeah, I think you're going to start to see the drop in Minnesota's play here in the later weeks. Sam Darnold, after watching him on Sunday, I think you got to really seriously consider him for pumpkin watch coming into maybe not this week versus Tennessee, but definitely when divisional play comes around. Green Bay and Detroit again. The only thing that I want to talk about with Tennessee was we mentioned a team needing a quarterback. Tennessee seems like they have everything in place. The only guy that I can see right now is Derek Carr coming to Tennessee. Do you think that does anything to move the needle in Tennessee?
I actually think it does, just based off of how well their defense has played. I mean, they lead the entire league in yards per game and yards per game allowed on the pass game. But they're 29th in scoring just because they can't move the ball down the field and they're constantly playing, within their own 50-yard line or midfield. I mean, it's just it is kind of. I mean, you got to be pissed off if you're a Titans fan just because of how well the defense has played and just how they're not able to garner any offense. It doesn't seem like they're able to scheme anything up. And I think this is a game that does. You talk about the names on the field. You talk about Sam Darnold. I think it just comes down to coaching. I think Kevin O'Connell versus Brian Callahan, especially when it comes to offensive play calling, is just going to be. I think that's where the difference is going to lie for them. I mean, it's been just a kind of strange, disappointing season for the Titans. I think they had a lot bigger hopes coming into this year, but I just think the limitations on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see. I mean, we have actually seen Calvin Ridley kind of come into his own. As Will Levis has kind of figured out, wow, I don't have DeAndre Hopkins to not throw the ball to now. So, I mean, the options are kind of somewhat limited for him. Yeah, roll tide for him. And I think one play I would actually make in this game is probably Calvin Ridley over yards because they're going to have to be able to move the ball somehow, or at least over receptions. But yeah, I expect the Vikings to, if not win the game, through offense and through being able to, move the ball down the field. I think Aaron Jones might be back in this game as well. I think if he's back, Hawkinson has come into his own again, looking like his old self. Too many weapons on the Viking side on the offense, and I think too good of a defense for Will Levis to overcome.
Yeah, I think Aaron Jones got banged up again on Sunday. I don't know what his status would be for this week for sure. Not that I don't if he even is in semblance of banged up, I could see Minnesota just sitting him for the week just because of the matchup. But yeah, Tennessee. Will Levis came back. He does what Will Levis does. Last week he showed some flashes. He had a great deep ball to Calvin Ridley for a touchdown. But look, at the end of the day, he doesn't look like he's the quarterback of the future. And what I think is interesting, and Christian, you mentioned it, kind of with Sam Darnold and the pumpkin watch, there's something might be off this Minnesota offense right now. And Kevin O'Connell, I have a lot of respect for him as a coach. I think he gets the most even out of guys like Sam Darnold and Josh Dobbs and some of these cast-offs they've dealt with the quarterback over the last year and a half or so. Um, but Minnesota's offense against what was a putrid Jaguars defense did not look great. And I think the total of this game, the total set at 39.5. And Mike, you mentioned how quietly good Tennessee's defense has been. Um, it seems like the market's baking in sort of a regression of Minnesota's offense. So look, it looks like it's gonna be a defensive battle. I love Brian Flores. I'm with you, Christian. I would be very surprised if he doesn't get head coaching looks. I think he very well deserves to get head coaching looks because he calls a great defense. His guys are always fired up. So yeah, this is going to be an under game. I don't know if I could lay it the points with the Vikings, just because of what I think is probably going to be a little bit of a lack of scoring. And I love that Calvin Ridley prop just because I could see Tennessee getting down in this game and having to throw the ball, and he'll get a nice bevy of targets. So I'm with you there. Yeah, I look. I think Minnesota wins the game, but just based on the defenses, maybe it's closer than we think it'll be. Um, and Tennessee, I know you mentioned Derek Carr, Christian. I could see them maybe drafting another guy too, just based off where they finish. Um, I don't know who that quarterback would be. Really, the only two guys I can think of in this draft are Cam Ward and Shadir Sanders, um, that I think could probably be franchise level caliber quarterbacks. Um, but yeah, they might be in play for drafting a quarterback as well if Will Levis continues to kind of struggle.
Right. I mean, they're a team with veteran targets on the outside. Obviously, you traded D Hop. You still got Calvin Ridley. You still got Tyler Boyd. I don't know Tyler Boyd's contract
I
situation.
think it's a
going forward.
Yeah,
one
I think
year
it's a
deal.
1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. So there's going to be room there to rebuild. That could be a spot where, Dion maybe says that's a no-go for Shador. I
Yeah.
think that he's really going to try to exert his influence. And
Well, wouldn't
where,
you want to
Shador
live?
can.
Wouldn't you want to go there though? Don't you feel like Nashville's a nice hot spot?
That's a good fit for him.
I
You've
mean,
got the
that's.
whole
I think it's going to have more.
Did we lose Pat?
Dion really
Might have-
were to have his way and have his choice of anywhere
Repeat
to
that
go.
real quick, Pat. Repeat it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was saying that I think if Dion has his way of where he's going to send Shador, he would be picking the Los Angeles Rams. I think the coaching situation and the what they have around them is going to be key in where they would go. But after Matt, I don't see the pathway there. But I think that's where he really would circle for Shador to go.
Well, McAfee actually pointed this out the other day. They pointed it out on a show that every time the Las Vegas Raiders have lost, Shador has posted like God bless or like thank God or like bless God.
I could see. I mean,
God
they're
is great.
they're gonna have to. Luke Getsy's out there. They're gonna have to get a solid OC, a really good offensive mind for Dion to sign off on Shador going anywhere. Because if we've learned anything from this season with Caleb Williams, it's that you can have all the talent in the world. If you don't have the coaching staff in place, you could easily ruin a great talent at quarterback. And I hope that's not what's happening with
at least,
Caleb.
at least Tom is there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
Tom
true
and
as well,
Shador
yeah.
are like close like that.
Yeah, it's his
Yeah.
mentor.
All right.
so-
Well, I mean, I could see it happening, but I think it's going to be contingent on them getting a real solid offensive coordinator, or if it's going to be an offensive head coach, even better if it's somebody that
yeah,
you can trust.
sure.
But I think if anybody's going to pull an Eli, it would be Shador for sure, and
Yeah.
going to the right place. And I honestly wouldn't fault him after seeing the Shane Waldron debacle in Chicago through this season.